Hi everybody, welcome back to the Southern Witch. I've been getting a lot of messages on Instagram and I want to answer everybody. The one that's been kind of sitting with me a lot is a comment that I got from a newbie witch on Instagram. She saw a photo, she posted that she liked it and she commented on it. And this conversation has gotten a little deeper for me. So I'm gonna read her first comment. I'm not gonna read my answer. I'm gonna answer it here. So the comment is from Crystal Ball. She says, newbie here, having trouble finding time to practice between work and life. How do you find time between work and responsibilities to practice your magic? And that's actually a really great question. A lot of newbie witches that are starting out, I've noticed, have had this question. She's the first person that asked it. I had 17 other people DM me about it. So I was like, maybe I should do a video on it. So that's what this video is for today. How do you find time to practice your magic and incorporate, your busy schedule of your life into your practice, or vice versa? So first of all, when you're a newbie witch, you're reading. You're researching, you're learning a lot. You're learning correspondence, you're learning about crystals and properties, herbs and properties. You're learning about deity worship, not deity worship, different aspects, different parts of magic. And if you sit down and Google that information or pull up books, which is great, I commend everybody that does that research. But when you sit there and you have all of the information spread in front of you, the problem is you will become incredibly overwhelmed. And that is probably the most horrible feeling. I remember when I first began researching when I was a very early teenager, I remember feeling very overwhelmed about it. Because you want to practice, but you want to do spells, but you want to observe Sabbats, you want to do Esbats, and you want to look the witchy part. I don't look the witchy part, other than the fact that I did my nails and I have like witchy things on them. But for the most part, I look like a girl next door kind of person. I have quirky clothes that I wear, so I don't necessarily look like a witch. And I live in the South. I live in Alabama, and this is the Bible Belt. And anybody who doesn't go to church, well, they're praying for you. They really are. But it's not just that. There are witches in the South. There is a large number of them. So much so that there are metaphysical shops that have opened, and you can, shop. Etsy stores that do all of those things. You can even get a lot of things off of Amazon, vice versa, anything. But you become overwhelmed. And so the best way to do that, especially when you're a newbie witch and you're doing your research, focus on one thing. One thing first. And it could be really difficult to figure that out. So what I did, and this was the time before Pinterest, as a matter of fact, but since we have Pinterest, I'm going to use that. Go on Pinterest and type in witchcraft and search. And it's going to pull up so many things for you that you're going to, again, feel that overwhelmed feeling. But scroll through it. Whichever thing pops out the most for you, pick that one thing, focus on that one thing, and research just that one thing. So it could be the first thing that pops up are the Sabbats, especially with it being, you know, September. We have Mabon coming up, we have Samhain coming up. Those are two of the witches' Sabbats, and they're part of the wheel of the year. So you can color a wheel of the year for yourself, for your grimoire. You can print one out and design it, or, you know, just whatever you want to do, so that you have that. And then you can look up the information on each Sabbat, and what they mean, the time of years that they come. Like Mabon happens to coincide with the fall equinox, the autumnal equinox. And then Samhain coming up is the witch's new year. And each Sabbat they're important, especially in a witch's practice. And even people who are not witches, these Sabbats oftentimes are celebrated in some fashion. Samhain, Halloween, Yule, Christmas, you know, insert whatever holiday it coincides with. And knowing about those, the time of years that they happen, the decorations that are used, the foods that are prepared, and, you know, the general accoutrement of celebrating these Sabbats is there, and you can understand it and you can know it, and that's your one thing that you have learned. And don't try to learn it all in a day. Spread it out. Spend a couple of hours a week on it. No big deal. Now, when it comes to actually practicing your craft, I am a divorcee. I have 2 young sons. One is 6, one is 1. And I share custody with their father, and we switch back and forth. I work full time, and then I come home and I'm a full-time mother. It can be very difficult to find time to practice your craft when you have all of those things that are in your life that are very important. Family, friends, work, whatever. So what I did before all of that happened for me, I could practice pretty much every day. And I did practice every day. Afterwards, it kind of tapered off, and there was actually a period of 2 years where I didn't practice at all. I still felt the pull of the moon. I still felt the magic of the year, that whatever time of year it happened to be, I still felt that, because I had been studying it for 20 years. And so I still knew these things. When I had my first son, I started practicing again. And it was never anything big, it was always something very small. And I wanted to show him that the world is full of magic. So now, one of the things that I do, I include him with some of my work, not all of my work. So that's however you want to include, if you have children, however you want to include them, that's how you include them. It's just something small, something easy that they can do for you while you're doing your craft or performing a ritual or working a spell. And when he was born and I started getting back into my practice, I had a designated amount of time every week. I did, like, Saturday nights after he went to sleep, I spent time practicing my magic, researching different parts of it, things like that. I did not miss it. It was almost like a mandatory study session for me. Every week I spent 2 hours on my practice. And I was working, I was keeping home and all of those things, so it was something that I started to do. As I went further and I got comfortable with my routine, I started making time elsewhere in the week for practicing. And it was never anything big. It was always something small. I'd be like, well, I have this chore to do. Maybe I had to wash dishes, do laundry, you know, something like that. So I would load the dishwasher or load the washing machine, something, and then I would practice while I waited, because that was obviously the only thing I had to do. And I would do research, or I would write something down in one of my journals, or I would meditate, or just, you know, just whatever you feel like doing. If you just wanted to do a really quick spell, you could do that. But I found that I was looking to find more time to work on my practice, and I found that that was useful. So when my second son came, it was nothing. I did have to rearrange my schedule a little bit. I dialed back a little bit when he was a newborn. Now he's a year old, and I still practice daily. I still practice a couple of times a day, and I still keep my late night week, after the boys go to bed, I still keep that 2 hours, because that is my final. I have to have that. And the only thing that would prevent me from doing that is some kind of an emergency. But that's something that every newbie witch needs to be able to do. They need to make the time to practice, and that's really important. Now, Crystal Ball asked this question, and I mean, I answered it, and I can show you on my iPad here. This right here, this is my answer. I basically shortened what I just said in this video. You have to make the time. You also have to do that research, and you will feel overwhelmed. It's not bad to feel overwhelmed. It's actually there. But if something is calling out or jumping out at you, maybe focus on that one thing so that you don't get super overwhelmed, and do your research on that one specific topic. And don't think that, well, this isn't what I want to do, I don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah. That's great, because I mean, it's some of this stuff that you research, you're like, this has no bearing on my practice. But it is important to learn other aspects of magic, even if you're not big on it. Maybe you're a kitchen witch, and that is who you are, that is what you are, and you don't want to know about tarot or divinations or anything like that. But it is important to round out your craft that way, so that you're at least familiar with it, and you know about it, and you have an understanding of it. You don't have to study it. You don't have to buy tarot cards. You don't have to buy all the things that are represented, or have all the things that are represented for the different kinds of witches. And that's fine. You can just focus on your primary craft, but it is good to at least know about and understand other aspects of magic. But that would be my advice for newbie witches who feel overwhelmed about everything when they're starting on their path, is do your research and do one topic at a time. Don't become overloaded, because you will burn out. And then make time every week. It doesn't have to be 2 hours. It can be, maybe you put aside 30 minutes a week on a specific day to perform a ritual, work a spell, whatever it is that you're wanting to do. And always keep that. Think of it like a mandatory date night. And that's your date. That's your date with the universe. Keep that date. Don't ever skip it unless it is an emergency. And you will find that once you start doing that, and that becomes part of your routine, that you will start finding more time throughout the week to work your practice, to do a ritual, to work a spell, to do some research. You will either notice that you have free time, or you will make yourself some free time, because your path in witchcraft is that important to you. So I really hope that that helps answer that question. If you like this video, if you found it helpful, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below, and you can follow me on Instagram at The Southern Witch. So until next time.